All right, looks like we've got this thing going. So, Anthony, how are you doing?
Living the dream the best I can in the quarantine life. How about yourself?
The quarantine. I'm doing fine. I'm doing the same thing. I'm glad we got to do this connection that our my kids get to
Yeah, I
see
mean, you
everything and
just
learn
gave
something
me the
along the
excuse
way.
to talk about something I'm passionate about, so I thought I'd pounce on it.
Heck yeah. So, okay, remind me, what do you call yourself now? Like, are you a semi-professional DJ? Are you an apprentice DJ? Like, where do you fall on that?
So, in terms of the DJ part, I considered myself at one point to be semi-professional,
Okay.
maybe amateur. The things that were lacking were, a business plan to
Right.
get clientele and marketing.
All right.
Skill wise, I considered myself to be like pretty good.
All right.
Um,
And so
and
then in London at the end of the year, where are you going? What are you doing? What's up?
so that is, if you were gonna call it something, I'd say an apprenticeship for music production.
Nice.
Getting into the all the technical and creative elements that go into making electronic music.
All right.
From it can be anywhere from like stuff that is like happening in the real world where it's like microphone placement and working with songwriters and singers to the stuff that happens in the box where you design synthesizers and compose music using music software.
Nice. Awesome. So, all right. So a couple questions. I know a little bit of your game, but tell some of my kids. Do you use different gear? What kinds of different pieces of technology do you use when you're doing some live DJing versus when you're, just at home writing music? Because what we're learning about this week is the actual instruments and technology that go into this. So, what are some different pieces that you use?
Sure, sure, sure. So if I were to break it down, like from a performance perspective, analog hardware um, that you would use, you have what would be back in the day your music player. So it'd be your record player, or your CD player. Now it's all digital, but you would have those media devices connecting to a mixer. That's the traditional DJ setup. Um, but now things have gotten a little, I mean, with the technology boom, you can like do anything. Um, so there's really quite a big blend. But in terms of like origins, one of the origin pieces of equipment that was used was the sampler. And that would be if you could record your voice um, and put it across the keyboard and it's pitched accordingly. Um, and with the tools of that, you can do some pretty wild stuff. My instructors in the classes I'm taking right now said they know people personally who can make a song out of a French fry, which is quite a lot. But I do have some old gear that I used to use that will kind of help put an image to what I'm talking about. So this would be the completely digital version of traditional DJ gear. Okay, so you would have right CD1, CD2, mixer. Okay,
All
and
right.
then you see all the knobs up here that would just be various effects and stuff that
Oh,
you could put on. And then the buttons on the bottom are more for navigation within the song itself. So like
okay.
right here and all this fun jazz.
Yeah.
Now, another piece of equipment that I have that blends between traditional DJing and like the music production stage would
Mm-hmm.
be something like this.
Big board.
Yes. So um, that, which I'm not going to hold up for terribly long, but it essentially takes it turns it into what's called, and one of the core components of electronic music is a step sequencer,
Mhm.
which is basically a way that you can program beats and melodies and rhythms
Gotcha.
in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. All
Hmm.
right. So, like, if I just say like that DJ's instrument, that's probably what it's going towards.
Well, yes. For hardware, I would say that's one of many.
Yeah.
Um, I do have a software program to show you more of the music production
Yeah, because that's another
element.
big piece
So
of it.
I'll put you on screen share
Okay.
and show you kind of one thing I've been working on, and give you kind of an idea of what this looks like. So this is the program Ableton Live.
Okay.
It's called a Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW. Um, and this is the traditional way of looking at music, where it's linear, so playing from left to right.
Right.
Okay.
Just like reading a book.
It also has a performance-based section called Session View, in which music, you think of music now vertically instead of linearly.
Interesting.
Mm.
So then, like, if we can go back to the other view, yeah. So like, out of this, it seems like you have a lot of different layers set up. What's like the first thing that you put down that you're like, okay, I'm gonna start building from this piece? Or
Hmm.
what was the first one that you put down with this?
Well, the thing of it, with that question is it can literally start from anywhere. For example, I can start in a drum machine like
Mhm.
this, where I have a bunch of different sounds loaded up, so on and so forth, that maybe I want to lay down a beat.
Mhm.
Or it could start with a software synthesizer like this.
Oh.
Yeah, where I'm trying to program a new sound. And like this whole array is it's once you understand the basic components, is like only half as intimidating as it looks.
I was gonna say it's really intimidating to look at. Like,
Yeah,
especially the fact that like you're basically creating music with an instrument that you don't touch.
yes,
Yeah, like I
you do
can't
not
get my
touch
brain around
this,
that. Even
and
as a singer, I can't get my
that
brain
that is
around
one thing that you lose with electronic music, especially when you get into more of like the computer.
that. Mhm.
When you had an analog version of this, because that's where these all came from, um, where all of these knobs and dials would be on a synthesizer, like an actual synthesizer. You could tweak
Right.
and touch it, and it had a very human feel to it. But now you really have to think about what it is you're doing, and trying to do, and be very familiar with all of the parameters.
Yeah. I feel
Uh,
like when it's digital, it has to be a lot more mathematical. Like you have to know exactly what you want because it's not in front of you. You can't just kind of feel your way around it.
yeah, but there are ways that you can do that.
Right.
You don't always have to start out from a blank slate. And the key is to like kind of know the timbre that you're going for
Absolutely.
when you do this.
Yeah, you
Um,
gotta have like an idea in your head.
hmm Very, very basic idea. Yeah.
Nice. So then, because you've been working on creating your own music lately.
Yes.
So, like, of what you've, even if it didn't end up in the final version of a song, do you have like a favorite sound or beat or just a favorite little piece that you were able to create and you sit there and go, like, that's the coolest thing I know how to do?
Well, what I can do one better. Um, is I can show you a sound I've been working on, really. Actually, I know how to find this attribute. Actually, be in the browser. So here's one that I worked on.
Okay.
Load up this one I titled Heaven's Gate. And so what this looks like with a bunch of modifications.
Uh-huh.
All those different colored circles surrounding the different knobs are like either mappings or different modulation sources, which tell the software to move on its own without you having to go in and physically move it.
Gotcha.
And help sculpt the sound to more what you want it. If I were to load up another one that wasn't a pad, maybe you could hear the difference. So that is more of a knocky stab.
Yeah.
Sounds plucky, but not.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, all right. And I know you could go on forever about this.
Literally.
But if you would say, like, what is the thing about composing for digital music and electronic music that's just totally different than composing for anything else? Like, what is it about electronic instruments that make them so unique and have taken off so much?
Layering. Some of the biggest sounds that you've ever heard in a massive dance hit come from the accumulation of dozens, if not more, layers to make up a single sound. I have I want to say studied songs that at face value is just a very simple melody or bass line that's a riff. But when you listen to it and you notice that there are 5 different sounds that make up just the bass line, to give it that in your face, larger than life sound, and it's the really reason why it drives people to dance the way they do and go nuts in a festival stage.
Yeah, I feel like it's like all the freedom that electronic music gives you, like the fact that you can literally just make any sound you want, it lets you be really complex. Like, you don't have to worry about how many people are in the orchestra and paying every single one of them. You just make the sound. But then even for just somebody to recreate that sound means that they have to go through your entire thought process and figure it all out, sound by sound, effect by effect.
Yes. For the students out there watching, a good way to really get into kind of I want to say the lore, but the reason why I think it's so amazing is to take a song, say, I don't know, any pop song, and listen to the bass line or the melody or even the vocals, and listen to what kind of other sounds make it come alive.
Yeah.
From big white noise swooshes to the build-ups to bass lines having extra power and feel to them would be the best way to get started into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, will you have one song that you send to me so that I can share with the kids?
Yes, I can do that.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I hope your kids enjoy this.
All right. Bye.
Bye.